and I'm going to go over your week 2 work. We're going to start our second module, and it is specifically focused on APA. So we're going to have an APA formatting lesson, citation lesson. So I just want to say this first. Make sure that you have a working webcam and microphone and Office 365 PowerPoint before next week, because we will need it. You will need it. You're going to do a presentation next week. But for this week, we're going to write a paper. So, well, you're going to need to read about plagiarism in APA format. So, I want you to read about plagiarism. You're going to write a paper, and I'm going to be using this rubric. So make sure that you understand what the targets are. And obviously acceptable. Because I will be using that. It might not be in a chart form because I don't know if Sakai is going to support the chart, but if not, it'll just be in a written form. It'll probably work though. I think so. I think it did last term. Okay. Okay, the OWL at Purdue is what I've always used. I would definitely take some time to review this. Obviously, you're going to review this video, but go to the OWL at Purdue site. It's a great site. I did four major papers using that. It's very reliable. Here is, you have a template you can download. There's a sample paper. This is the template, sample paper. All of that's on the OWL at Purdue site. Of course, you could just go here and download those. Less than 10% of a written paper should have quoted material. Don't overdo it with quotes because that just shows you can't write original work, so make sure not to do that. Also, very important, a lot of times the student will take information from a source and then cite it and think that's okay, but they take the text word for word. That's not okay. You should never take text word for word from a source unless you're quoting it, and you can't quote more than 10% of your paper. So everything else should be paraphrased and then cited. So, and this is the great example of paraphrasing right here. Put it in your own words. Summarize it. If you're just going to summarize it in very general terms, you don't necessarily have to have a page number. But if you're going to paraphrase it, you do. Formatting APA references, that is also on the OWL at Purdue. There's so many examples. Just make sure you use in-text citations, like here. These are you have to always use in-text citations for every reference on your reference list. So make sure that you do that. And then there's 2 sources for citing that. You can use those sites. I don't use those, but that doesn't mean you can't. Create citations. Honestly, I prefer just looking at how to do it, but that's me. In other words, if I wanted to show you, I would go here. There we go, APA guide. Alrighty, APA formatting and style guide. Now I want to cite a reference, and I want to cite an electronic source. Reference list, electronic sources, web publications, excuse me. And there you go. You got a template, you got an example. So that's how I would do it, but I mean, if these other methods work for you, that's fine as well. You're going to pick what's comfortable for you, what you prefer to do. And this is Wikipedia is a horrible source. Don't use it. I mean, it's basically anybody can write whatever they want on there. So don't use Wikipedia. That's pretty much my gist of it. I don't really. eHow, about.com, things, sites that people can just put information on without being vetted at all. You know, there's no vetting there. Don't use those. Use credible references. So Turnitin allows you to submit a draft, and then the instructions to do that are below. So you're going to turn in your draft, and it's going to generate a Turnitin report, and you can see it. I want you to look at it. I want you to see how those things work. You know, you're going to see color-coded information showing big chunks of, you know, if you want, since you can turn in your draft as many times as you want before the final, copy something from a source, paste it in there, and then see if it shows up on the report. Look at the report and see if there's a big, you know, text highlighted. That's what it catches. Word for word information from the internet without quotation marks. Sometimes it even has, even if it's quoted, it'll show it. But I will look at the report and see myself. I mean, I discern, okay, this is not plagiarism. This is, you know, I would look at that. But I'm just to give you an idea of how it catches, you know, plagiarized material. You can, you know, obviously do that just to practice, because you could submit the draft as much as you want to. The submission for the draft, the submission is not graded. Just make sure you put it in the right one. The draft goes here. The final paper goes here. You can do it as many times as you want, unlimited. And then the final one goes here where the red star is. I will grade that. That's your final submission. All right, so you get a template here. And you're practicing your APA here. And writing papers. And these types of citations here. So you're going to create these. So, you know, the APA, the OWL at Purdue will help you with that and what you've read. But I want you, that's the content of your paper. And you're going to get an opportunity to do a paraphrase and a summary. So, okay, here's the actual submission. View the Turnitin report. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to look at it, and I will be putting my feedback in there in the comments. And then here's your final 3 questions for the module. So that's what you're doing. You're writing a paper. You're basically practicing APA. So you'll see these light blue call-out icons, and that means that I made a comment. Or, of course, you can also see them on the right side for general feedback and comments. So, okay, that's really all. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. If you get confused about something or something doesn't seem right, just let me know, and I'll be happy to help you. Again, we're practicing APA because this is something in a business, well, I don't know what you're in an MBA program. No, sorry. There are other intro classes to programs. So all MBA courses have This is what happens when you teach too many classes. You get confused as which one's which. Sorry. Your MBA classes, all business classes use APA style. I think MLA is used in literature and more, and maybe art, literature, humanities. APA is used pretty much all the social sciences and business courses, and I believe also IT. Most areas are APA. So anyway, you're just practicing that and understanding what the Turnitin report does. So take advantage of that. So you, especially with the Turnitin report, understand what, take a look around so you can get an idea of what I'm looking at when I'm grading your papers. Generally, you want to keep that score low. If you follow the directions of paraphrasing and summarizing, you will not run into issues with that. But if you get into a situation where, and I know we all do it, we're in a hurry sometimes, we're writing a paper, we say, okay, I need this information, I'm just going to grab it from here and stick it in my paper. You can't do that. That will get you in trouble. So make sure that you understand the strategies when it comes to paraphrasing and summarizing. And that those are your friends throughout this program when it comes to writing a paper. Because when I'm grading, I will look at, I'm looking at that Turnitin report, and if I see a few quotes, maybe bumping that score up, because for some reason sometimes it does catch that, and it shouldn't really if it's quoted, but if I see a quote here and there, that's not a problem. What becomes a problem was when there's big passages that are taken, the highlighted passages, which indicates that the whole passage was taken from another source, and there's no quotes around it, or I've got some people have turned in a paper to me with a quote in the top, and at the bottom there's a quote, and I mean the whole thing is a quote. The entire paper is a quote. That's another problem. So this module is to get you on the right track when it comes to writing papers, and it's very important. Because you don't want to be flagged for plagiarizing several times. I mean, you can get kicked out of your program. You can get a 0. You don't want to go there. So this is a very valuable module. So if you have any questions or concerns, let me know, and have a great week. Thanks for listening.